Yo, what's going on, guys? Alex Sheffer wrote a nice little piece. Basically, The Athletic, he talked about what to expect with the Kyrie and Kevin Durant trade and also TJ Warren and some of the other signings. So I want to hear your thoughts down below. Link in the description. Let me hear your thoughts. So first off, the first question came from Tyler H. He said, and the question was, what are your thoughts if no fair value trade for Kevin Durant or Kyrie materializes and KD chooses to sit out? Do Sean Marks and Josiah have the stomach for a free fall to the bottom with 1/3 of the cap space on the sidelines? Does KD have the stomach to throw away 40 to 50 games of stat collecting towards climbing on the all-time list? And from right here, Shams Charania reported on Monday that the latest with the Durant trade market, and we all know Sean Marks and Josiah. They're smart guys, and they definitely have common sense. Now, John Holger, Alex Sheffer writes, suggests that the Nets should tank for a lottery pick because they have a pick swap with Houston this year, and the Rockets' current rebuild should safely get the Nets a lottery pick for whether, it's their own pick or the Rockets' pick. So I think that's stupid. Let's not go. Now, I think there's a couple things we need to look at. This is a team that I think they messed up right here. Look, this is what Alex Sheffer writes. In 2018, the Nets had a promising young core that made the playoffs after a half-decade drought. They traded D'Angelo Russell for Kyrie, a guy who left Boston after one healthy season that yielded a conference finals exit. And the Nets also got Durant, who just was coming off an injury. And they sold the rest of their young core and picks for the next half-decade for James Harden, who was forcing his way out of Houston. They took the advice of Kevin Durant to hire Steve Nash, who had no experience in management and no prior experience as a head coach or a lead assistant coach. The team let go of Kenny Atkinson, arguably one of the best player development coaches in the league. Now, they had a lackluster roster surrounding KD, Kyrie, and Harden. Poor defense throughout the past two seasons that you could argue is Steve Nash's fault. Now, Harden left, forced his way out. Then, look, there's just kind of, now, I don't want to say that Kevin Durant's the 6'11" elephant in the room, but what is going on? There's a great question. How could the bright young men and women of this franchise think that it was a good idea to go all in on two or three guys after the monumental failure of, the Billy King or trade for Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Joe Johnson, all that? Because it's kind of like history almost repeating himself. And we knew the team wasn't going to win a title back in 2018 with, D'Lo. And I think title windows are small. And you got to have to, legitimize them as much as you can. So I don't think they've done anything wrong. Going in was the right thing. I personally think, training camp's a month away, and you can't fire Steve Nash because looking for a coach to learn the roster and the job on the fly with the season this close is just setting up for failure. Now, if Nash were to, resign, he puts the Nets in a tougher spot, especially if an external hire who hasn't been in the building every day has to come in. They would probably have to, promote somebody. So for me, I think Steve Nash and Sean Marks stays. I think Kyrie stays. I think Kevin Durant stays. Kind of like it's been suggested this whole time. Because at the end of the day, there's no reason for them to move on from these guys. And they should try to run this team back during the deadline, until the deadline. And if they, don't like what they're, doing, trade them at the deadline or fire the coach. I just think at this point, guys, there's no point in actually, I don't see the reason behind needing to, how do you put it, basically blow this team up. Let's just try to get Durant back here, either say this is the last season or till deadline, give a chance. Because look, TJ Warren, let's talk about him. I thought that was a great signing. Yes, we really don't know what he's been up to. He's been hurt and he's had that foot issues. And look, I think he's just a dog. He's a dog. He's played 4 games last season after playing 67 the year before. If you can give the Nets 65 to 70 games while putting up around 15 points, which he did in his 4 games last year, while he shoots his usual splits, which is 51% from the field and 36 from 3. Obviously, I don't expect 2020 bubble Warren, but, you know, I think still you can be a solid, reliable scorer off the bench for Brooklyn. Now, I think I like Ben Simmons, and I think they need to keep him. But all indications that the Nets want to keep Kyrie. Kyrie and Ben Simmons are a perfect pairing, in my opinion. And obviously, you can't bring Russell Westbrook in. So I'm in favor of keeping Irving to start the season and possibly dealing him as a rental at the deadline for a contender. And I think just Irving and a healthy Ben Simmons playing alongside like Seth Curry, Joe Harris, even regardless of Durant's there or not, is just really good. And it's just something they should do. I want to hear your thoughts down below.